there's a logical conclusion of the story.
And so moving on, Jay. All right, enough of your fancy.
Sorry, it does relate.
Author book. You would get it, Jay. You write books, okay, Jay? We get it. Everybody, Jay's an author, okay? Jay writes books. Everybody.
No, I wrote a book.
Jay's building a new world, right? Everybody.
I'm totally building a new world. So it's all in here though, so it doesn't really count. But yeah, I mean, the story. This one, we were talking about as above, so below. So we got off track. My bad. But yeah. This guy just kind of came out of nowhere.
No, he came out of nowhere, right? And it's weird how he came out of nowhere too, right? So what happened, everybody? To tell you what, Thoth ruled Egypt for all this time or whatever. A great flood happened, which every culture has at this point we got to stop calling it a myth. Every story tells of a flood.
Yeah, I mean, we did have there's archaeological evidence and all that.
No doubt, man. They found fossilized clams the other day at the top of Mount Everest. They walk up there. I'm saying,
right.
So yeah. But anyway, so Thoth showed up after the flood, and his job was supposedly to go out and rebuild these societies. He started, strangely enough, they say, 13,000 years ago, right after the Younger Dryas, which is right when the flood took place. And if people aren't familiar with the Younger Dryas event is there's an asteroid field that we come around every so often, and they postulate that one of those asteroids was slung out of the Younger Dryas, or the Younger Dryas event that came down and caused that flood. And it did cause the flood, but I think there was also too, they just found 3 times the amount of the Earth's oceans, like 8 miles down.
Water.
Yeah, water. So obviously water came up from everywhere, right? He came out to rebuild society. He started in Central America, South America. So he started over there. Then he went back to, the other places. Thoth is credited in the Emerald Tablets as being the creator of the Great Pyramid, which I've always said is not built by man. People call me a racist. I'm like, okay, why am I racist? Yeah, they call me a racist, right? Like, why do you say that? You just can't accept that black people made it. I didn't say white people make it either. None of y'all made it. So, yeah, the Anunnaki made it, right? And so he went over there to do that and built that back up. But that's not what this guy gets the most credit for, Jay. He gets the most credit for because evidently in this tablet, and this is how I think the tablet's fake. I'll tell that at the end of the podcast. Talks about how to transmute iron, other metals to gold, and how to make this stone called the Sorcerer's Stone, right? For make you immortal. And before you laugh at that, everybody, on there, I'm going to give you some names of some people that spent multiple years studying this. One of them was Isaac Newton, spent 30 years. He invented calculus. The Holy Roman Emperor Rudolph II had people researching it. John Dee, a lot of people don't know who John Dee is, but he was basically they called him a wizard of the court in England. And this dude's claim to fame is that he could actually speak the angelic language. He could speak the angelic language. Well, I actually think this guy could probably speak Anunnaki, or he probably was speaking. What was that Sumerian tablets written in, Jay? Cuneiform? What were they written in? Sumerian. He could probably speak Sumerian, and they just thought he was speaking the angelic language on there, right? And
he could have been babbling off all kind of stuff.
Yeah, man. Yeah, who knows, right?
He could have been speaking Russian for all they know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then Edward Kelly was another guy that was looking on it. He was another court magician or a court wizard over there. I can't remember the queen he was in. But the most famous name of all is Nicholas Flamel, right? And when you hear that, if you know anything about Harry Potter, you're going to laugh. But actually, the lady who wrote Harry Potter based the Nicholas Flamel character on the actual alchemist named Nicholas Flamel, who was the only one who supposedly actually created the Sorcerer's Stone, deciphered the tablets, and walked off, faked his own death with his wife and walked off, right?
The Count of Saint Germain.
Huh? Yeah, exactly.
It's all connected to the legend of the Count of Saint Germain.
Yeah, and it's like Nicholas Flamel is connected to the legend of the Count. We need to do a podcast on that guy, man, to tell you the truth, man. That's a whole story right there, right?
Yeah, it is.
And, Yeah, so they achieved mortality. And so when I hear that story, it gives me, alchemy is a real science, right? It really is. They can't actually take lead and turn it into gold. You have to put it inside this big type of like piece of equipment to do it.
I mean, it's prohibitively expensive to
It's
transmute
so expensive to do,
metals.
right? It's not even worth it, right? But they can do it. They remove, I think they remove a molecule or something like that.
There's all kind of jiggery pokery that happens. It's particle physics.
It is, right? Yeah. So it's so expensive to do it, right? But here's where I get caught up in that, right? Here's where I get
That's
caught
what
up.
particle physics do, Joe. They're alchemists.
No, they're satanic. We've talked about this before. When you're not busy trying to open up
alchemists supposed to be?
These guys aren't on. Yeah, look, they're not off the list. Aleister Crowley studied this too. I left the lead satanic person on the planet off this, right? Aleister Crowley was studying these things as well, right?
Oh, absolutely, he was.
They're all of the devil, man. It's all devil.
Well, it was the Hermetic tradition, right?
Yeah.
It's even named after him. Like,
yeah,
Thoth was Hermes, and then the Hermetic tradition was like looking for the Philosopher's Stone.
Yeah. So it is a legitimate science, man. And Isaac Newton was legitimately I would say, he was a smart guy. He was probably genius level, right?
Subscribe now and turn on the notifications to join us on this extraordinary journey into the unknown.